Are you in HR? Okay, then are you an HR generalist or an HR specialist? An HR consultant, HR analyst, recruiter, training and development professional, OD consultant, compensation and benefits professional? Ooh, too many questions, right? Yes, HR has got a lot of sub functions within it. But many people consider HR is equal to recruitments. When I share about myself having 20 plus years of experience in HR, OD, L&D, training and developmental functions, I come across as a person having vacancies. All of these specializations of mine get wiped off. And the person comes up saying, hey, here is my resume. Do you have a vacancy? In fact, I'll have to admit that even several HR freshers have this understanding that HR is mostly recruitments. So for especially for the HR freshers and people from HR and training fraternity, I am coming up with videos on various functions within HR. And especially my focus would be on training and development because that is my domain. Hi, I'm Lucky Daftwar, founder of planmytrainings.com, director of Excellanta Services, having 20 plus years of experience in training L&D OD as head of L&D and OD in various multinationals. I have taken an initiative to help freshers and new trainers develop their skills and become world-class professionals in training and development. HR has got a lot of sub-functions, but in this video, I'm going to talk about two aspects within HR. I'm going to talk about HR generalist and HR specialist. I'm going to describe these two aspects and I'm going to differentiate between these two. These are not the subdomains of HR. All the subdomains of HR come within these two aspects of HR. So let us dive into the topic. So as I said, there are various domains, but especially there are two paths within HR. If you are in HR, you get into being an HR generalist or you get into being an HR specialist. Now, why I have come up with this video? Because I want to help the freshers and new HR professionals understand which path they should take for a successful career in HR. Usually, people get into the generalist profile because that is more predominantly available vacancy. But down the line in their career, mostly people think about getting into specialization of one of the subdomains of HR. Now, before we get into the depth of this subject, let us understand why is it important to have this knowledge right in the beginning of your career. It would be good if you know what being an HR generalist mean and what being an HR specialist mean. And it would be good for you to know various aspects or various subdomains within HR so that you craft your career accordingly. I have seen many professionals regretting later in their career that they did not have this knowledge in the beginning of their career. So instead of regretting later in life and getting questions that why I did not decide in the beginning what to do and what not to do, isn't it better to know what you should do and follow that path right from the beginning? So, my videos will help you understand all these aspects. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel because you will get a lot of knowledge about HR and HR subdomains with my videos. So now let us get into the depth of being an HR specialist and being an HR generalist. Let us get into the depth of this knowledge. So an HR generalist is an HR generalist. Simple. Well, HR generalist is a, as the name suggests, is a generalized profile within HR. Whereas An HR specialist is a specialized profile within HR. Now, what does that mean? So, to understand what does being an HR generalist mean and what does being an HR specialist mean, let us understand the functions that these two professionals carry. An HR generalist does most of the coordination of various subdomains within HR. He or she handles all the subdomains, but most of the handling part is on the superficial level. Whereas an HR specialist mostly does the creation part within HR. He or she has in-depth knowledge of one or two subdomains within HR. And with this knowledge, they tend to create policies and systems and procedures in the organization. Since an HR generalist does the coordination and handles most of the functions within HR, he or she happens to become a jack of all trades, but a master of none. Whereas a specialist focuses on one domain within or one subdomain within HR, and thus an HR specialist becomes a master of one particular subdomain within HR. An HR generalist function is broader in various aspects because he or she does the coordination and handling of day to day queries, handling of questions from employees, carrying out the day to day functions, the coordination of various functions within HR, and handling the day to day requirements of the businesses. So it is a broader aspect in various terms. Whereas being a specialist is a focused process. A specialist, as I mentioned, focuses on one particular subject, gets into the depth of that subject, does research. A specialist also researches other organizations, what's going well in other organizations. He or she tries to find out the best practices in various organizations. And based on those knowledge, he or she also reads, understands, and gains a lot of knowledge of that particular subdomain. And based on that knowledge, he or she designs and develops the policies, frameworks, and systems for an organization. A generalist supports business with their day to day functions. Their responsibility is varied in terms of on one day they might be handling recruitments, whereas on the other day they might be handling a query related to labor laws from an employee. Whereas a specialist does innovation. They support business with their innovation. They have to be creative. They have to be research based. They have to get into the depth of that subject. So, with this knowledge, they formulate the policies and systems of the organization, whereas a generalist executes these policies and systems that a specialist develops. Now, I would like to add here that mostly an HR head's position requires you to be a generalist and maybe a specialist in one or two areas. But if your aim is to get into a consultant mode, or if your aim is to think about your post retirement engagements or being an entrepreneur at certain point of time, then you must focus on being a specialist in one or two domains of HR. You must find out which of the various domains within HR is best for you and is of your interest. And based on that, work on developing your skills on that particular domain and try to build your expertise in that domain such that at later in your career you come up as a subject matter expert and as a consultant for that particular subdomain in HR. Now, we have tried to compile certain questions related to these two aspects. And if you want to know to a certain level, your inclination towards being an HR generalist or towards being an HR specialist, then I have shared a link below about a document. Go and fill that. It's a form, and fill that honestly. And if you answer the questions honestly, then most likely you'll be able to find out whether you are fit for an HR generalist or you are fit for an HR specialist. And don't worry about the result. Even if the result is opposite to what you want to be, you can build your skills and your capabilities such that it suits to the thing that you want. If you want to know more about HR, especially in training and development and OD related domains, and if you want to have some guidance from me, then go and join my club. The links are mentioned below. It's a VIP club. Join that and join my WhatsApp group, and we will work together towards your development. Thank you.